Good morning, students. My voice is audible. Okay, sir. Thank you. So today we are going to commence with the last topic in Unit 3, orchestration and choreography, as well as a content beyond the syllabus topic also. I need to focus here because that could be the topic being practiced in the industry, as well as there is a relationship between today's topic along with the ESB, Enterprise Service Bus. So that's also being focused over here. Orchestration and choreography, right? Again, in each of these topics, we have a tool, right? Since it is a theory-based orientation for you, I'll show you some of the tool clips. Try to practice these tools. That will be more useful for you to work with the SOA framework, right? You could understand why such type of things are happening, right? So that's the case. The third unit, completely lab oriented one. Okay, completely lab oriented one. During the regulation of 2007 regulation, I think so. The first batch passed out from RIT. They have learned SOA with the SOA lab. So during their lab, they did all these exercises clearly, right? Enterprise Service Bus. Since I think we have a vast number of recaps on all the SOAP, WSDL, UDDI. Okay, so along with the service level agreement, service level interaction pattern, different types of patterns that it would be uh, a complete recap for that. So today's topic, Enterprise Service Bus. This could be your CBS, but anyway, what is the role of this ESB will pitch in for our orchestration and choreography. Let's see. Actually, this could be the reason that we are coming move over for our SOA actually, right? So the communication between different services are not properly aligned when we are going for normal multi-tier architectures. That is the reason why we are moving for these types of SOA framework. So that will help us to fetch over the or crossover with the web application, web server and application server can be accessed via my web service. That's the major role here. Okay, so I could able to create a stream so that I am going to use any type of web service, either RESTful or SOAP, whatever may be. Using any one type of web service, I could able to access my corresponding application via ESB. That's what being mentioned over there. Bus is nothing but collection of services here. Okay, collection of services. So what is the service you need? You could able to pick it up from that stream, service stream. That's what being mentioned over there. So if they want to communicate via server bus only, they will communicate ESB, right? It could be like a directory. It could be like a directory so that they could able to access and use it. Right? I think this diagram will give you some more clear picture. Anyway, we are going to work with the distributed infrastructure, but there will be a centralized control, right? So how that ESB must be there? Configuration control will be centralized. For example, what are all the services has to be available as a priority? What are all the serviceables, the available services which has to come on demand? So likewise, I could able to prioritize those things on the service bus, as well as the communication happening between service provider and service requester could communicate via this ESB, right? That means my resource broker will be available in the ESB, or ESB will be managed by the resource broker. Okay, so that could be the idea behind this. Okay, so this could be the some more clear picture. Okay, for every service and interface, the interface could be completely it could be a cumbersome one, right? So I have to write number of interface drivers to communicate between different services. That is what being given over there, right? So without ESB, how it will be? I have to mention for every third party service, I have to write my own interface, or the API call what they are going to mention that must be specified within the interface. So it will be a tough job to access that. I won't get any unique ID that is being ready to access any type of service. Okay. So to overcome that only, how could you able to come up with this? So that ESB will come into the picture. Service can be accessed via that service bus. Okay. There is no need of any separate interfaces. Okay. That service bus is nothing but collection of services that I could able to access that corresponding token. Likewise, we could able to keep the name token to communicate with the other content. Okay, so there won't be any rush for communication, that I could able to go for RSVP also. Okay, I could able to reserve the service and use, right? So for example, in Amazon, you could able to in AWS, you could able to reserve a resource for this period to this period. I could able to do that, right? Such type of things also being available. Or else I could able to lock my Netflix plan for next 3 months for this rate. That is also being possible, right? So services could be communicated via the respective tokens. So the token will be issued through that service bus. It's a matter of priority. Already I have conveyed it, right? It's a matter of priority or on demand, or it would be RSVP, whatever may be, right? So that could be done through the ESB. There is no role of native interfaces, right? For example, for Java program, we are having JNI. Okay. For Microsoft products, they are having their own native implementations. So if they want to communicate, this JNI need to communicate with the MNI. So through that, they will agree upon and they will communicate. To avoid all those things only, these ESBs will come into picture. As well as when the ESB will take care of different types of vendors. Okay, but for the user point of view, or from the user's view, it would be completely void. They don't know that. They'll pay for the service and they will use it. That's it. They don't know about that. This is from a different vendor. This is not at all related to them pertaining to their hardware or software usage, but it is ready to be acceptable and using in their environment through cloud. No, nothing will be visible for them. Everything will be abstract. Only the service out of the developed work will be receiving towards them. Right? That could be the role of ESB. So ultimately, what's happening on these things? They are ready to work with common specifications, policies. Okay, so normally this UDDI and the corresponding communication entities for this UDDI are specific for the framework. Okay, so now they are going to make it globally, right? So consider a case that a service available in the Google environment could be accessed by a service which is already running in the Microsoft environment. Okay, so in that case, my level of implementation will get to vary. So that could be the ultimate idea behind this architecture, right? So what we are doing here ultimately, we are arranging the services properly, that could be communicated and that could be identified via ESB. How to do that arrangement? Okay, how does the communication need to be happened? Even these two things also, through programming you can decide. That's what today's topic: orchestration and choreography, right? Orchestration and choreography, the centralized one as well as distributed one. That is what the role of ESB here, right? And you could able to see here. I think this picture will give you. We need the feature of distributed infrastructure as well as we need a centralized control. So how to give that? So these two things are being termed as orchestration and choreography. How I am going to arrange the services, okay, and who is going to manage the control or communication happening between these services. That's what the content that we are going to see today. So the diagram in the left side will talk about service orchestration. Okay, the diagram in the right side will speak about service choreography. So communications are being monitored through choreography. Orchestration is going to happen via my coordinator, centralized one, right? So that you could be able to see that orchestration and choreography. And for level of understanding, you could be able to see that orchestration, a single director is in control, right? That could be your centralized control. So choreography defines the interaction, how the components are being communicated, right? How they are being arranged, right? That could be nothing but my choreography. Arrangement, service arrangements is maintained by choreography. Service monitoring will be performed by orchestration. Okay, so that's the thing. I think this diagram comically will talk about this. Okay, so arrangement will be done by choreography. Flow will be managed through my orchestration. So that's a very good notion on that. Okay, so this could be the correct entity that I could able to move with. Okay, so orchestration, you have a centralized coordinator that it will take care of the corresponding request and response as well as service invoking. Everything will be managed through that. Okay, if any service want to communicate any other service, that will be done through the knowledge of this coordinator. Okay, here regarding choreography, the process of invoking one service with the other service will be happening directly. That's what my choreography is. For doing orchestration, we have a separate language. For doing choreography, we have a separate language, right? So orchestration is nothing but we are going to work about the process. Okay, completely on process. So choreography, that we are going to work with the service level. So these two compositions are going to take in place in our ESB. Please remember that the ESB will take care of that. Ultimately, process decomposition is going to happen here. That's it. Service decomposition is going to uh, happen here. Okay. So if I want to perform choreography, what I have to use? I have to use WSCDL. Okay, WSCDL. So it's a like our WSDL. It is derived from XML only. Like WSDL, we are having WSDL, Web Service Choreography Descriptive Language. Okay, so through that I could able to do my uh, coding as well as for business process modeling. That's what for orchestration, that I could able to write a program WSBPEL. Using that tool, I could able to create my code. WSCDL is nothing but you have list of some XML tags. Okay, so through that you could able to convey and move forward. And a BPEL, you can create the flow. Through that it will generate the code for you, blueprint for you, right? For example, if you have ready-made services are available, you could able to plug and play and just to create the flow diagram. That flow diagram will give us the uh, complete picture of how this SOA framework is going to work. Right? That much effective this BPL will have, business process execution language. Right? I could able to create a BPL for a complete inventory management system. I could able to create a BPL for a BPL flow for a complete reservation management system. I could able to do that. Right? How these services are communicating with each other, right? What are all the things common between them? What about the types of communication between them? That could be done through my WSCDL. Okay, so that has been mentioned over in this diagram. Already we have seen this. This is the case study, right? This is the case study. How my orchestration and choreography need to be mentioned over there, right? See, first come for my services. What are all the services I have? So related to individual attention from a multi-specialty hospital. The services are clinical services, analysis services, aerobics exercises and services. So depending upon that, they have three types of services are being mentioned over here. Okay, three types of services are available. How these services are accessible to the patient? How my SOA framework will be here, right? So that could be the idea. So see that how they are communicating. My Fitbit, that's what the smartwatch, right? My Fitbit is ready to communicate with my smartphone. Smartphone is the one that user is having. Second thing, the smart scale. So regarding the weight, okay. So that is also communicating towards the smartphone. Patient, that means the user, he is also communicating via smartphone. So all the inputs from the patient are fed to the smartphone, right? Smartphone may have a app. I assume that. That app is provided by a smart scale provider. Okay. Now the IoT platform, because the devices are connected in that, the IoT platform will give you a service composition here. This is nothing but your ESB here. Here ESB is composed for my IoT. Communication is being managed through my REST. Okay, through my RESTful web service. Second thing, for which type of input, which type of service need to be provided, that must be mentioned to be orchestration. Now you have to give the input because his heart rate is coming like this. What is input has to given towards them? That must be managed by orchestration. Okay, what type of service need to be used for communicating this input back to him? Okay, in what way? For example, it could be an alarm, or it could be a light, or an SMS to their relatives. For example, he had fell down on the road due to some sudden cardiac arrest. So in that case, how he will mention, how he could be the reverse communication, how it need to be done over on that. That should be identified through this choreography, right? Central coordinator is orchestration. He will convey what to do, right? Via which mode it need to do, that should be done by choreography, right? This could be a uh, orchestration and choreography case study for a smart patient management system, right? So what type of services need to be given over there? So I think this could be the complete diagram that will manage you. And one more thing, see that there is a wearable device provider, right? So the all the smart service providers, smart scale provider and wearable device providers are communicating with my ESB only. Please remember that, through ESB only. How they are communicating? Via RESTful. How a patient will be identified? Through his mobile unit. So in mobile unit, how it will be identified? Through my corresponding IP. IP is nothing but a URI, Uniform Resource Identification, nothing but a URL. Okay, URL communication is very easy when we are going to move for real-time systems, okay, or the place where we need response immediately, okay, where we need response immediately. So in that cases, it's good to move with these types of RESTful web services, right? So this is an example also will convey you that, or this is a case study will convey you what type of web service that we need to be employed here, right? And again, you have to come over a point here. Orchestration and choreography, they are ready to manage all types of web services. There is no partiality for them towards this is SOAP based, this is RESTful, this is XML RPC. No, not like that. In which time or in which situation, which type of services need to be executed, that should be decided by this choreography. Okay, so what service need to be rendered will be informed by orchestration. How these services need to be performed, that should be done through my choreography, right? So that could be the a very good case study regarding this IoT based service decomposition. The role where ESB is coming over here is projected in the ESB is completely customized for IoT platform in this case study, right? So that's the thing that I want to stretch it here. Right. So we are going to see it one by one. So first we are going to see about the choreography. So web service choreography description language. Again, it is a W3 recommended standard. It's being derived from our XML only, right? So it could able to communicate, especially for accomplishing a common business goal. Okay, so what could be the objective that will be mentioned very clearly through this CDL. Different heterogeneous components can be identified via this CDL. That's also the main thing. As well as what are all the participating services available in the environment that will be collaborated very easily through this WCDL. So this specification could be a common one for all types of services, right? For all types of services, I am going to write a common specification. Only some parameters will change, right? So in the content that you will come to know about that, I'll show you that corresponding programming window. So what could be the ultimate aim of this WCDL? What could be the purpose? Okay, so different organizations, independent process, how they want to communicate. So that can be done through my WCDL. That will take care of it. Okay, see, it's like you are going to draw the flow chart. That's all. Flow chart will take care of taking the corresponding components from the platform. It will integrate. It will create the application bed for the business. That's all. You got it. No one will write code here onwards. What they will do, they will create the business process. By default, the automated business process will fetch the corresponding service from the uh, vendors and it will interconnect and it will start to work. So assume that you are having a tool in AWS. So in the tool, what you are going to draw? You are going to draw the flow chart for uh, uh, face recognition attendance system. So for that, you are going to create a application. So what you will do? You draw the flow chart. So how you will draw the flow chart? Start. So next, what you will do? So device for getting the input. Next, database orientation for mapping the inputs. Next, security checks algorithms for mapping my inputs. Okay, so here you can able to go for if it is false, it has to inform to police. If it is correct, it has to the gate has to open. Likewise, you wrote some algorithm and finally you are going to put start. So for every block, what is the service available in AWS that will be automatically fetched out, and all this flow chart is converted directly into a complete project, a software bed, or it's an application, right? So it will tell you when what could be the interface for input. That's all. The output will tell you what is the interface for input, where you have to give the input. That is the only thing that it will convey. So the input may be a mobile app in your mobile, right? Or a device in the office, whatever may be. That's all. That is my POC, point of contact. So by that it will communicate and move forward. That's it. That could be the entire thing this WCDL will provide, right? So this BPEL and WCDL will combine and work. For example, the same software I'm going to use it in my different place where the hardwares are entirely different. In that place, whether my software need to change? No, it's not necessary. The bed will be as it is. Only the interface need to be changed. That will be taken care of my ESB. ESB is nothing but my choreography and the orchestration. These two people will take care of that job, right? So all my specifications will be common for any type of environment. That's what being mentioned over through this WSCDL. Once you are going to complete this session, We'll come to understand it in a clear way. See, my platform is Java. I did my modeling in BPEL, right? In the choreographic GUI, I am drawing the flowchart. That's all. Flowchart will be organized as a modeling in WSBPEL. Corresponding components in the flowchart, corresponding programs will be fetched from the Java platform. It will create the project. That's all, right? See, if you want to develop your project, draw the flowchart. It will give you the project. Likewise, this one. Okay, so that could be the content, as well as while it is going to take the service, which services are best services. In that place only our SOA will come into picture. Okay, so these are all the best services for doing this service. Likewise, it could able to come over on that. My traditional integration will be converted into ESB based architecture. That's what being given over on that. This could be a simple case study, right? So from company A, from company B. Company B is very good in software development. Company A is very good in software design, right? My choreography interface, what it will do? So the business analyst will just draw the corresponding flow chart. What are all the contents are necessary for my flow chart? For that, it will generate the WSCDL. By using WSCDL, the corresponding components are being mapped in my BPEL with Java. That could be the simple case study that is very ready to talk about my WCDL in a clear fashion. So these are all like what do you call tags in WCDL, right? Role type, relationship type, participant type, information type, choreography. Choreography is nothing but in which order it has to come. Channel type, work unit, activities and ordering structures. These are all nothing but my UML terms, right? So people who are familiar with the UML, object oriented analysis and design. These are all those terms only. Those terms are completely mapped with my WSCDL as a tags. That's it. Okay, so by that, see, using these tags you can create your program. Using these tags you can create your program, an XML program, right? That can be mapped with my BPEL. So for example, information type, assume that information type, I am going to receive a text to password from the user. So information type will consist of some XSD code. Remember XML XSD code. That XSD code will have the type XSD. It's a single type. Okay, only number I am going to receive. So likewise, I could able to convey it. Such type of programs you can create using this type of tags. Okay, so this is phase one. Second phase, BPEL, business process execution language. So choreography is over. Now it is orchestration. Okay, so what it will do, it will create two things. One is executable business process, second one is abstract business protocols. These are the two things that it will concentrate. Okay, so the orchestration engine will take care of everything. See, for every application an orchestration engine will be there ultimately. So it will take care of what are all the process, in which order it need to be executed, how they need to be communicated with the external environment. That could be taken care of by the abstract business protocols, right? That we could be able to come to know about this. See, you are having the tags again for BPEL. See, in the BPEL, you no need to write the code. You are going to draw the flowchart. So please remember. Okay. So see that you are having tags: invoke, receive, reply, assign. Right. These are all the I think you know about receive and reply. For invoke is nothing but identifying the web service. Receive and reply is purely used for my request and response messages. Assign for variables. Throw, exception handling. Wait and terminate. They are going to use for my multi-threading. Right? Sequence. Nothing but my control structures. Flow. Again, multi-threading. Case switch and constraint. While. These are all nothing but my iterative control structures. Right? Pick. Partner link. It's very important. Partner link. It is ready to identify my call my functions variable. So using these tags, XML tags, I can write my program. Or if I'm going to draw the flow chart, it will generate the program in terms of these tags. These tags are mapped with these entities. That's all. Okay. I will draw the flow chart. It will generate those entities. Those entities are mapped with these WSCDL model entities. That's it. So what you have to do, you have to manually, you have the flexibility to map my WSCDL with the BPEL, right? You have the window. I'll show you that. Okay, so how to do that in a proper way? So you should be very familiar with all the web services available in the environment. First case, you have to generate the WSCDL for the BPL. How can I generate the WSCDL? If you write the code for your web service, your WSDL will be generated. I think I have shown you how to create a web service using SOAP, as well as how to create a web service using RESTful web services. For all those things, WSDL code is generated by the native platform itself. So no need to worry about that. So take that WSDL file, come with that. Define partner link types towards whom they are going to communicate. Okay, so you have to identify them. What are all the values that you are going to exchange? See, all these things are taken from the WSDL file itself. Partner link is nothing but from which URL you are taking, or for which destination you are sending this SOAP message. That can identify it very easily. Variables are nothing but the parameters that you are using. Okay, uh, what you have to do, how to map this BPEL with the corresponding WSCDL. That is the only logic that you have to write. That is also have been automated in the environment. See this is the environment of BPEL. You can incorporate it in your IBM Eclipse very easily. It will be available as a plugin. Just install it. That's enough, right? Whatever the tags we have seen here, see in the left side window, you could able to see. I think for a purchase order process that they have generated this complete items. See that left side, you could able to see invoke, receive, reply, assign, control, switch, pick, while. All these data structures are being, all these tags are being given as a plug and play tool. This is what we have seen here. Right? All these tags are given as a plug and play tool here. What is your job? See here, at the bottom you could able to see a function, a control for receive. What I am doing, operation, send purchase order, right? I am choosing the operation, what I need to do. This is the place I could able to manually map my Java program. Please remember, for send purchase order, what is the code I could able to create. Once if I'm going to do that, by default what will happen, you could able to see some purple color arrow marks in the uh, flowchart. What it represents, whenever I am going to do mapping between the corresponding services, the arrow mark will get to be involved, right? So they will know that what could be the input for this corresponding tag, what could be the output for the corresponding tag. Can I able to communicate between different sequences? That is also possible, right? So this flow chart I am going to create. That's all. Once I create, my SOA framework is ready. For this, WSCDL will be generated. For the corresponding from the corresponding services repository, services are made to be mapped. See, this is BPL version 1. BPL version 2, it will, you have options that I could able to do it manually or automatically. If you are going to do automatically, just to give the path where your Java programs reside, right? Because from flowchart, it will access my web services and it will create a software environment that could be done automatically in the subsequent versions. That's what the powerfulness of BPEL, right? So orchestration is completely the job of business process modeling, right? Arranging web services in which order it need to be executed, which web service need to call which web service. That can be customized by us, right? ESB, I am going to customize it. See, this is my ESB for this project work, right? I could able to customize this. ESB can be even generalized ESBs also will be there, right? Across services, across different products, that is also available. This is within the project that we have created the ESB, right? How the communication is going to happen. My input as well as output, receive and reply is being reflected. All my individual components can be mapped with the corresponding functions or web services. Okay, so that's the very clear diagram. I think since I think since it's not lab oriented, that you could be able to practice it, right? Otherwise, if time permits, on the completion of the course, we could be able to see. I will send you some recorded video of how to execute a BPL program in Eclipse or NetBeans. That I'll show you, right? So just we have to list out some 5 web services, enough, right? Store 5 web services. Already ready-made web services are available in internet. Take those 5 web services. What you are going to do? Draw the flow chart. The flow chart must consist of the tags available in the left side. Invoke, receive, reply, right? Output of one web service need to give to the input of 2 other web services. Likewise, I could able to create some operation between the available 5 web services, and finally only one output need to come. How could I able to do that? So I need to arrange those 5 web services properly using my WSCDL. It is enough to draw the flow chart. It will take care of WSCDL, and for all those 5 services already we are having ready-made programs. This the mapping that we have to do it manually through this operation, right? Through that operation, if I'm going to map, ultimately the communications need to be established and will be reflected via that. So the first phase of third unit, what we have seen, we have to write our web service, we have to write the code for consuming web service, we must inform them how to access the web service. Now everything got automated. Your job is to simply draw the flow chart. Your job is to simply draw the modeling. Just to do the modeling, it's enough. It will take care of process service decomposition, right? The second unit we have studied service layer, process service decomposition. That could be taken care of these people clearly. This is what my orchestration and choreography, right? So that's the actual case that I want to post it here. If you have any clarifications, kindly post it in the chat. And regarding your